Hi, doctors and friends. My name is Khansa from Group F, and today I want to share my reflection for the film The Teacher 2023, directed by Farah Nabulsi. So, this film for me isn't just a story about a teacher because of the title, but it also highlights a political conflict, and it's a human story about pain, love, loss, and compassion that can really deepen our empathy. I will focus on one character that I love the most. His name is Basim Al Saleh. He's a Palestinian school teacher who has this quiet strength, and his moral struggles reveals what empathy really means in difficult times. So the film The Teacher is set in an occupied West Bank, and it follows Bassam, a middle-aged teacher who tries to guide his students while living under really harsh conditions. And he becomes really close to this one student named Adam, and Adam is a young boy who is grieving the death of his father and is struggling to find hope. At the same time, Basam's life intersects with this girl who's volunteering from Britain. Her name is Lisa, and through her we can see that another perspective, which is someone who wants to help, but also learns that there's limits to what help can do in a world divided by violence and injustice. So the film also includes a tense subplot about a captured Israeli soldier, which connects to the tense subplot and forces him to confront his own grief, morality, and choices of Bassam. But rather than focusing on the politics of everything, the movie also focuses on emotions like guilt, love, and shared humanity overall. So, Bassam is portrayed as a calm, intelligent, and a kind man, but beneath all that calmness, I can finally see in the end of the movie that he carries deep trauma, that he lost his son in the conflict, and yet he still dedicates himself to teaching, and also guiding young minds in a place where hope feels dangerous, like Adam, Jakub, and every student in his school. And his classroom becomes a space of resistance, not through violence though, but through education and dignity. To me, Bassam's greatest obstacle isn't just the occupation of him, but the emotional burden of loss and his fear of losing empathy in a world that tries to take it away from him. So, Bassam faces multiple obstacles here. There's political oppression, personal grief, and also moral conflict because of the environment he's in. And he's also torn between revenge and forgiveness. This is where it gets interesting. So, between protecting his students and expressing his anger towards everything that's going on. While the word help in this film doesn't mean in a dramatic way, but it comes quietly through connection that is built up between the characters of this film. Back again with Lisa, the British volunteer that tries to help by listening and by being present. Her empathy doesn't actually solve everything, but it reminds Bassam that compassion still exists, and without her, he might have lost the part of himself that still believes in humanity. So, in neuroscience terms, we could say that Lisa's empathy activated Bassam's mirror neurons, the brain's natural mechanism for emotional resonance, reminding that amid trauma, we can still feel others.
I choose you.
So, if I were Bassam, I think I would feel an overwhelming mix of pain, also helplessness, and also responsibility. And teaching under occupation, also losing a child and trying to remain human, that's so hard, and that's something most of us can't even imagine, not even me. But what I admire most is that Bassam still chooses empathy. He listens to Adam while he still protects his students. He also refuses to let hatred define him or other people like Adam. This made me realize that empathy is not just feeling sorry for someone, it's understanding their struggle while still respecting their dignity. Watching him helped me practice emotional perspective taking, a key part of the neuroscience empathy. So through Bassam, I can feel that it's like what it's like to carry pain but still choose kindness. So Lisa shows empathy by connecting emotionally despite cultural and political divide. While Adam, the student, shows empathy, but though he's still young to fully understand Basim's pain. Other characters around Basim often fail to show empathy. Some are desensitized by years of violence, like Yakub. So this contrast reminded me that empathy isn't automatically just there, and it's also a skill that we can lose if we don't nurture it. That realization made me question myself. How often do I choose not to feel because it's uncomfortable? How often do I look away when someone's suffering seems too big for me? So, from the neuroscience perspective, empathy has two layers here. The first one is emotional empathy. That's when we feel others' emotions. And there's also cognitive empathy. This is when we understand them intellectually. So the film The Teacher awakens both of that. Emotionally, I felt the grief of Basim and Adam. But cognitively, I can understand that the systematic oppression that shapes their lives. And this film trained my sympathy circuit. It made me feel like people who are far from my reality, and it reflects on my own empathy skills. And I realized that I often empathize easily with people like me, but struggle when the situation feels politically complex. And to improve that, I want to practice active empathy by listening deeply, staying informed to make me intellectually available, and not turning away from uncomfortable truths. So, to sum it all up, I want to share my favorite line from the film. It is when Basim says, "Teruslah berharap dan pegang harapan itu." So the movie, The Teacher, taught me that empathy is not weakness. It's actually an act of quiet rebellion. And sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is to keep caring and also hoping.